This is my second free flow talk in a row because I lead a really busy lifestyle and I haven't been able to record lecture type content. I again apologize for the noise pollution in the background. It's just the area that I am currently in right now and have access to in nature without it revealing my personal location or whatever. And the reason why I'm in this mood right now is because, and I have mentioned it before in a previous video, it's gotten to a point where I'm receiving loads of emails, even comments, and to worst case scenarios in mentoring sessions where I am having men essentially confess their love for me or want marriage and try and do all sorts and say all sorts of uncomfortable things. Why am I raising this? Because if I do not address it, then it's essentially a way of me accepting it, and I don't. I am entitled to have boundaries, but also I want to always be as authentic as possible, in the sense that I am not a saint, and I hope I haven't been giving that impression on this channel. I'm in the pursuit of wisdom, but I am very much entitled, just like any other person, to have feelings of anything uncomfortable, which can include disgust, repulsion, the right to block, the right to delete. I had a thought that I didn't want to delete any comments that made me feel uncomfortable, because if I delete them, then it's kind of brushing it under the carpet that there are not problems when there are, and the way that people think it is a problem to me in my reality. And so I leave them there so that it can somewhat be exposed in itself, rather than trying to sweep the evidence away that this is what people are thinking like. So now that's out of the way, I do these videos and I do mentoring sessions, and this isn't to criticize anyone that's reached out to me and said, I want to be your friend, because that's really wholesome to me and I appreciate the sincerity. I can really tell when people do that and have sincere intentions. And sometimes I give the benefit of the doubt until I see it progress into something very uncomfortable. And I have been hearing you all out in the sense of finding like-minded friends, and I do envision, but it's definitely not now, I cannot commit to maybe trying to find a way to bring a community together out of this channel, which could be a Discord. I remember a comment requesting that, but this is all a lot for me to just do in one go when I've got so many other commitments and responsibilities in my personal life, which I guess the first 5 minutes of this video is going to be a bit of me letting it out and expressing that I'm very private and I don't show my personal life for a reason. And so having people try and connect on personal accounts or just anything outside of this YouTube account makes me feel uncomfortable. A Substack is fine, of course. So I appreciate it if you try not to develop some delusional attachment to me as if you know me, because you don't. This is the thing with public personas. You think you know everyone and how they portray themselves, and you can to some extent, but you don't truly know someone, and that unfortunately includes me. And I'm not saying I'm a saint, and I'm not saying I'm the opposite of a saint and I'm a horrible person. What I'm trying to say is I like my space of being authentic as possible and as real, and I suppose me addressing this is just as real too. This overwhelming experience as the channel grows has influenced me to talk about the topic of today's free flow talk. How do we balance between delusion and faith? Now, I've had, to the people that, are more integrated into society, maybe, I don't know, will probably find this crazy, but I have had people essentially say, it sounds horrible for me to say that it's crazy, but This is me and my reality that I am entitled to, just as much as you guys are entitled to yours, where they take my words out of context and say, well, what if if I can manifest anything, why can't I manifest you, Raisa? Why can't I manifest a marriage, or for you to love me, or this and that? This is where the line and boundary draws, because I have always said that we are limited for a reason, to experience the limitless. So what is possible for you is something you have to figure out and experience and evolve as your character in this lifetime, just like I am doing in mine, and I am experiencing everything in my own time, whatever time is to me. Balancing delusion and faith. I got asked this question by a subscriber who I recognize has commented in a few of my videos, bless her. She once asked, and I did give a response, I think it was in my delusion video of me wearing like the country cap inside a little country house. And she asked me basically, how do we balance between those? How do we know where the boundary lies? And I gave an answer to that then. I haven't read it again, but I can only speak from how I've evolved into the person I am now. Delusion is when you have a belief of wanting something so bad that you actually don't believe you can get it. And so you cross boundaries in the collective consciousness's idea of society and rules and, boundaries of how we should behave, right? And there's a way of behaving with your character, with your game character. We've agreed on this as a collective society. You don't like someone, you do not go and commit harm. We have laws, we have rules in place in communities, and a consensus of don't say this to a certain person, and you don't behave like that, antisocial behavior, etc. The list goes on. We have those for a reason. And so when you cross boundaries to feed delusion, that is when it becomes very harmful, not just to the people around you, but also to yourself. Because you're not actually growing and evolving and feeding into the self-love. It's actually becoming detrimental at this point. And like I said, not just to yourself, but to the others around you. So it's becoming a problem. Now, of course, it can always be said, this is my opinion and this is my reality. But I think this is something most of us, hopefully, I would like to hope, 95% of us can agree that we are responsible for how we behave, and we have laws in place for that, whether it's laws in a country or laws in a religion, so to speak. And I've often had people say, what if God wanted me to be with you, or what if you're the one in my life, etc., etc. Now, I want to reiterate, no matter what religion you're from, I know there's such thing as divine timing, divine inspiration, feeling connected with the divine. I feel that, I understand that, I support divine masculinity and divine femininity, however we define it. At the end of the day, it is us defining it, and this is what I'd like to point out to. If you really sit down and deep your connection with God and what you think He or it or the universe wants for you, please understand that it is actually just it all coming from yourself. You have not had, no one has had direct confirmation or communication with God, so to speak, in a direct level. And this is hard to explain because there are different levels of consciousness, and it depends on what you believe in as well. You know, if you are a Hindu and it's the Arjuna and Krishna dynamic, the higher self and lower self. If you are a Muslim, it is, just God as a higher power, the Lord, ultimate reality. But your faith in God is all still coming from you. So I don't support the idea of justifying and imposing on your external world, on the mirror, your shadows in front of you, to say and dictate that, and to use faith, religious faith, to feed the delusions. And this is where it gets really blurry. And I hope I'm making sense here. It is a very complex topic. And maybe if I'm not explaining it properly now, I might evolve and experience more things in my life to then have a better articulation of what I'm trying to say. Or maybe I might think a bit differently. But I still think it's important to address. And I suppose this free flow talk isn't necessarily me dictating my opinions, so to speak. But it's more of me just raising questions as well in our community right now. Like, answer in the comments, open the discussions. Faith and delusion, how do we differentiate them? Well, first of all, know that it's all coming from you. What you're thinking, what your opinions are, and what you want. I've made a video about desires, and I hope to make another video of like a 2.0 version where you think you want something but actually you don't. And every one of us has had these experiences. I fully believe that. You thought you wanted that job until you got a better opportunity, and now you're loving your new job and you're thinking, oh my God, I would not have enjoyed that one. Same with relationships, same with I don't know, just anything. Clothes. You saw it on the website, you ordered it, you're wearing it now, and it's like, oh, that doesn't suit me as much as I thought it would. It can literally be as simple as that. Because it's not the actual materialistic object of that person, that job, that clothing that you're really after. It's the feelings and the experiences that come within it. Now, I know there are a lot of manifestation teachers that say, ignore people that say stuff like that. If you want something, you can definitely manifest it. If it's true. And sticking to... Okay, so let me try and give an example from my personal experiences without it being too personal. I really thought I wanted something, and I stuck to it for about 1.5 years, relentless in faith, until I let it go, and then I experienced something else. Basically what I've just said. If I truly wanted what I first wanted, I would have still been at it to this day, relentless, as if time doesn't exist. If you really wanted something, you would operate as if time didn't exist, and you wouldn't care if you got it or not. You would just still have that faith and delusion. That is, to me, a true desire. And you might think right now that you really want it, and you might agree with me and say, yeah, I can wait for this person for so long, or I can wait for this job or this house for so long, because you're feeling it now and you're that identity now. But you won't know if a desire is truly true for you or not until it's done. That is what I've experienced, and that is what I'm trying to say. You don't know what God's plan is for you until it's done. You do not have the luxury of the omnipotence, the omniscience that God has, to truly predict the future exactly how you want it to go. This is why we have spontaneity, and this is why we always say to resist nothing, to trust in God. This is why we have faith. Faith is belief in the unknown. How can you have faith if you know exactly how your future is going to turn out? It's because you don't. And so it's only when I look back and reflect in my life do I say, oh, those things happened for a reason. But we cannot have that mentality for the things in the present Well, you can in the present moment of everything is happening the way it is right now, but you cannot have it for the future. I don't think it applies to the future at all, because there's so many possibilities, infinity, infinite, eternal possibilities. You couldn't possibly know what you truly want until you've got it, experienced it, and you can reflect back on it. This only applies to the past and present. What you think God wants for you only applies to the past and present. It does not apply to the future. This is where it becomes delusional and wishful thinking, because you don't know yourself enough to be 100% certain in the future. Now, I know a lot of people might get triggered about this, but you truly don't know yourself enough. The whole point of our souls coming here, I believe, is that we are evolving and experiencing all these things, these life lessons, etc., as stepping stones to get to know ourselves. Does that mean we're guaranteed to know ourselves until we die? I don't know. I couldn't answer that. But a lot of people believe in souls and reincarnation, and that we keep reincarnating until we fulfill all our true desires, and only when we fulfill our true desires we return back to the Creator and we end this cycle. A lot of cultures believe that, and I do like the idea of it. I do entertain it a little bit. It gives me a bit of peace in knowing that I'm in my journey. There's nothing more or nothing less. It's all in the now. It's in the presence. Looking at the time, it's around 18 minutes now. I hope I've articulated this. I hope I've made it clear. So I'm just going to try and summarize again. Delusion and faith. Faith is the belief in the unknown. You can have faith in only yourself. Having faith in shadows does not make sense. And if the external reality is your shadow, then you are chasing shadows of yourself. You put that faith in yourself, you work on yourself, fulfill all your desires. So let's say, for example, you don't want to have £5,000 to cover a debt. Truly, you want financial abundance. You want to be able to cover any debt that comes your way. And it's that shift. You have faith in abundance in yourself, whether it's financial, love, kindness, what other areas, creativity. Those are like the 3 to 4 main desires that everyone shares. I couldn't see anyone else having any other desires. For those to be like the 4 pillars, so to speak, I think it's 4 that I've listed anyway. It's expressed in specific ways for every individual. So for creativity, for one, it might be an actress's creativity, or a painter's, or maybe someone that doesn't have a career in an art hobby but just likes to journal every day, and that's their creativity desire fulfilled. It's manifested in so many different forms, and it's different for everyone. So it's not the materialistic desire itself, it is the experiences, the outlet it brings for you, and how it helps you evolve as a person. So I would like to make this a bit clear without feeling so uncomfortable to say this, but it's not me you want to marry, because you actually don't know me. It may be an idea of me. Even that kind of makes me feel a tiny bit uncomfortable, but there's like a line between wholesomeness and then when it gets a bit creepy. And I'm saying this as authentic as possible, that this is how I feel. And as long as you operate with responsibility, behave and connect with everything around you. Yes, I'm saying your external reality are shadows, but they are shadows of yourself, but also shadows with the illusion of separateness, of individualism for other people. And you respect those boundaries. It's complex, it's paradoxical, this way of reality. And I'm not claiming to say that I know everything. I never have in any video. But I am trying to learn and figure it out myself, and this is this is how I can only conclude to it right now in this present moment with all the experiences I have had up until now, and I can't foreshadow the future. I really can't. I can have ideas, I can entertain it, but when I entertain it, it's in the now, and I can experience it right now. This is what I'm saying, what I mean when I say the future is such an illusion, and the past. But I think the future is what holds a lot of people, because we're creatures that are motivated by desires, and desires are always to look forward. And so it can make people do questionable things in alliance with what we've agreed as a society of what is normal, what should be done, etc. What is creepy, what is not creepy, what is crossing a boundary, what isn't, etc. I hope I made myself clear. And maybe this is a free flow talk where you get to see a bit of my frustration and my reaction as my game character right now, and obviously not me as consciousness. Or maybe you can, I don't know. But I am on this journey just as much as you guys are. And that's not to say I haven't made mistakes or I had to learn the hard way to get to where I am now. I may have done things in the past that, I'm embarrassed of, or I could be. But then the idea is the past also doesn't exist. You have to forgive yourself and just focus on the present moment and who you want to be in the present moment. Stick to it. Enjoy it now. Keep practicing presence, because you become magnetic, and be authentic about it, but not to a point where you're using your faith in God and you're using I have faith in myself and I'm being authentic, so I'm going to cross boundaries as a collective consciousness. There's a way of doing it. If you truly had faith in yourself, you wouldn't need to cross any boundaries in the external reality. You would have so much faith in yourself and in God that you would keep it within, have faith, go about your day, doing things that, are uplifting you and serving you in a wholesome way. That is all you can ask for. That is my current mindset right now, given the recent experiences I've had with this channel growing. And it's only going to continue to grow, so I hope it doesn't get to a point where I feel completely uncomfortable that I don't want to do this anymore. And I hope that doesn't become the case, but that possibility doesn't exist right now. I enjoy what I do. I love connecting with some of my mentees and making a difference, but also getting to know and learn from you guys. I appreciate the wholesome comments and people reaching out to me. I don't mind that at all. It's just when it's done in a wholesome way and it's not necessarily attached maybe to my appearance, because that's when it can get a bit uncomfortable, so to speak. I don't know. I'm figuring it out. But thank you so much for watching. It's a lot I've said in this video, a lot of frustration, but hopefully there's wisdom out of this frustration. And I'd like to end this video with my disclaimer that I am by no means claiming to be knowledgeable in everything, except that I am in the humble pursuit of wisdom. Maybe I will learn from this and evolve further. Maybe my thoughts will change. Who knows? But I'm currently here and I am honoring that right now. Thank you.